Good morning, everyone. Today is a very special meeting because, we just had the anniversary of the 9/11 tragedy. And, our condolences go out to anybody who had lost a loved one or a friend, back then. That was really the impetus of why we started the Breakfast Club, was to help those people who had lost their jobs to the tragedy. As things have gone on in the world, the financial crises, the economic conditions, automation from digital, and now the COVID crisis, the need for this group has grown. So we are celebrating our next month, our 19th year of the Breakfast Club. And during that time, we've helped now close to 10,000 people land jobs. It's all a pay-it-forward volunteer organization of which we come together and each of us give to the greatest ability that we have. The other thing that the Breakfast Club has been very lucky to have done is we've kept many of our alumni in place, and they've been gracious enough to serve as volunteers to come and constantly reinforce the messages of the best practices around interviewing, around resumes, share their contacts from a networking perspective. And really it's that blend of the volunteers and the new people that find themselves in transition that really make the Breakfast Club something very special out there for job search and career management. In order to join the Breakfast Club, if you aren't already a member, it's pretty simple. You go to our website, which is thebreakfastclubnj.com, and right on the homepage there's a link that says join the group. You simply click on it, and there's three pieces of information you need to share: your email address, your full name, and your phone number. And I'll say that again because I guarantee you I'm going to get a bunch of people that want to join and they don't supply that information. It's your name, your email address, and your phone. Once we have that information, we will add you right in to our roster, and you begin to share, get our communications, our messages. It's very important because that's how you connect with us. But also, once you join them, you have the ability to email all the members of the group. So when you attend the meeting, there'll be some subset of the members at the meeting, but we have over 7,000 members in the Breakfast Club. So for people that are new, that are in transition, I highly recommend you go on, you put your elevator pitch into writing into an email, and once you're a member, you can send it to all the members of the Breakfast Club by simply putting it in an email and addressing it to thebreakfastclubnj@yahoogroupsplural.com. And again, that's the Breakfast Club NJ, which is the name of our group, at yahoogroupsplural.com. I suggest you do that when you want to announce to everybody that you're in transition and who you are so they know about you. I would also suggest when you're targeting companies and you want to find out about ABC or XYZ company, send it out to the group. We have all of those members in a highly concentrated geography, and our average profile is that most of our members have worked for 20 years or more. So it's very easy, or a high probability of success, that a person's going to have worked at the company you're targeting, may work there now, or knows somebody there. And that's what it's all about, is taking it from just an idea or learning about a company to actually finding a fellow person there that could tell you about the culture, tell you about how it's organized, tell you about the different job levels and how it works there. And a lot of times you can find out information that will help you make a decision if that company may seem a right fit for what you're seeking, but also additional information about it so you're better prepared when you come to an interview. A lot of times by working with someone at the contact there, they may even be able to direct you by giving you a reference into the hiring manager. And that's what it's all about, is networking your way to success, how you become not just another piece of paper as a resume in a pile, but you now distinguish yourself of who you are. The hiring manager finds out about you because you get a recommendation from somebody. We call it running on the speed of trust, that basically they're looking at you through the lens that somebody that they know and hold in esteem is giving you an introduction in, and they look at your paperwork then in a whole different light. Once you join the Breakfast Club via that mechanism, our moderator, Haresh Kaswani, will send out to you an invitation to join our LinkedIn group. Our LinkedIn group for the Breakfast Club New Jersey is a hidden group. So once you get that invite, you can go in, you can join it, and you can see everybody else from the Breakfast Club that's in the group. Now, these are people that have gone through the same route of job search as you did. So you could start reaching out to them directly and having them join your network. Growing your network is very critical because of the degrees of separation in LinkedIn. The more people you have as direct contacts, then increases the subsequent contacts you can reach. So it's very important during job search and in career management to constantly be growing your network, building relationships with them. So you're not just adding contacts, but along the way you're reaching out to these people. You're arranging time to speak with them directly, find out about each other, see how you can help each other. And that's really where the value is going to grow to you and your network. And as I always say to everybody, your network is your only rainy day insurance policy against things like when you're out of work, being able to be reemployed. So whether you're in search now or you're just doing it for career management purposes, that's why that's so critical. We also have a Facebook group. The Facebook group is critical in other ways because when you're running a job search, Facebook has about 5 times as many people than you have on LinkedIn. So you can, find people you went to school with, that were former neighbors, whatever it may be, a lot easier because of the prevalence of how many additional people are on Facebook than are on LinkedIn. And then again, it's all about growing your network so that these resources are available to you as you're trying to contact with different companies and find people that you know at all of them. So please avail yourself of all these resources. Everything I talked about, the Yahoo group, the LinkedIn group, the Facebook group, are all free. Now, the other thing that people ask me is if they joined all of that, why should they join Meetup? And we added Meetup a couple years ago because to us it was very critical to be able to tell people when the meetings were, who the speakers were going to be, what the presentation was about, when the meeting was being held. So we've always tried to keep the Breakfast Club easy. It's always the second Saturday of every month at the same time, 8 a.m. And when we're in a physical location, it's at the Days Inn Hotel. During the COVID crisis right now, we're doing it via GoToMeeting. But for whatever reason, people get mixed up, of when the second Saturday is or that it is the second Saturday. So by going to Meetup, it sends you a reminder. It gives you all that information about who the presenter is, what the topic of discussion is going to be. So this way, you make sure that you can attend. and it gives us a sense of how many people to anticipate, joining and attending the meeting. The other aspect of Meetup is very critical for your networking success. So if you went on and joined us via Meetup and RSVP'd via Meetup, it's going to send you back a list of all the people, and many of the people have their pictures in there, so that you can see who attended. Well, maybe somebody made a comment. Maybe somebody works at a company that you're interested in and you want to follow up with them. Now that you've done that, you can more easily go through that list, and maybe you didn't catch the person's name, but you saw their face. Maybe, you don't remember the face, but you remember the name. It's a great way to be able to do follow-ups after you attend events. So those are the reasons why we have Meetup as well, and why we suggest you join our presence on that as well. So we try and avail ourselves of this social media technology. We try and bring it to you to help provide benefits to you within your job search and career management. These items are all here for your benefit. They're free, but we should be seeing so many people every day, especially in this climate, with so many people out of work, every day putting out, "Hi, I'm Jill or John. I'm out of work right now. This is my value proposition. These are the companies I'm targeting." Use your network, especially because all of the people that joined here are career management and job search oriented, and many of them are alumni that have gone through the process. We have over 800 of our members are sitting C-level executives. So you could get to these people on a more casual setting and maybe get advice from them, get connected to them. Make sure you're taking advantage of that when you're targeting companies to find out about the companies, when you have questions on different things like COBRA and unemployment and job career management related issues. Put it out there. And I guarantee you, with as many members as we have, that people will respond to you and will help you out. So that's what our group is about. We always say, help us to help you. Let us know how we can help. Use the different communication vehicles and channels we have in place, and really leverage them to your job search success. And then one final piece of advice I wanted to tell you is, now that you're a member of the Breakfast Club, try and think of the value that the group can bring you while you're in job search. So when you're dealing with a recruiter, right, I constantly hear people say, "Oh, I called the recruiter didn't call me back." Well, just like that with a recruiter, you want to establish a relationship. So next time you're on the phone with the recruiter, say to them, "How can I help you? Is there any positions that you're having a hard time maybe finding good qualified candidates for?" Explain to them that you're part of the Breakfast Club, and then offer them that you'll take some of their hard-to-find jobs and post them on the Breakfast Club. Now, think of the power of that. You're now helping that recruiter find qualified candidates, plus you're being a good citizen to the group by bringing in job opportunities, and all you're really doing is taking an email and forwarding it to thebreakfastclubnj@yahoogroups.com. Now you've brought opportunities to your fellow members. Now, if any of those candidates then subsequently are qualified and go through the recruiter and get hired, that recruiter now made money due to you helping them. Next time you're going to call, they're going to look at you very favorably and want to take your call, because they never know where that call is going to lead to. So, there's simple ways every day that you could help not only the recruiters, help yourself, help fellow members, and at the same time, you're building what we call an emotional bank account. When you're reaching back out to your fellow Breakfast Club members, giving them advice, helping them connect to somebody, maybe giving them a reference in where you used to work or current work into a hiring manager. You're building emotional bank accounts with all of these different members of the Breakfast Club. And that's what it's all about, is giving on to the others. And then I guarantee you it'll come back to you in manyfold. So please practice good group citizenship. Take advantage of all those different channels and venues we have out there and leverage them to help you have success in your job search. The only thing we request is when you post out to these groups and sites that you limit it to job search or career management related content. So if somebody has a boat to sell, you don't want to post it out there to the Breakfast Club. But if it's things like Cobra, career fairs, job opportunities, advice that you need in your job search, by all means, take advantage of it. And that's what it's there for, is to support you and to help you. And everybody on this group, that's what we're here for. So I'll close it with help us, help you, take advantage of it, and best of luck to all of you. With that, I'll turn it over to Jerry Payton, and Jerry will introduce our speaker today.
Thank you very much, Frank. Wanted to mention today's presentation is an extremely valuable one, and one that you're going to find extremely practical and you'll be able to use not only in interviews, but even in networking, because a lot of times people want to know about you. And we have a very experienced presenter who's been doing this for a long time. So let me introduce him right now. Known as the landing expert, Alex Freund helps his clients minimizing the fear and making them feel confident and comfortable throughout the interviewing process. For the last 14 years, Alex has helped more than 1,000 clients, ranging from managers to CEOs in a variety of industries. Alex also publishes the Landing Expert List, a free directory of job search networking groups via his website at landingexpert.com. Alex is a Cornell University graduate and speaks 5 languages. I'd like to introduce Alex Freund. Alex?
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. I love doing this. I love coming to this group. And one of the reasons is, where else can I see all my friends all in one place? So this is for me very, very exciting. I'm an extrovert. That means I get my energy from people. So for me, it's very energizing and it's wonderful. As you can see from the slide that you have on your screen, I'm in my humorous mood. Often I am. And let me start with, I was just thinking about it, with a riddle. And this is primarily for those that have been with the Breakfast Club for a longer period of time. Who is the speaker that spoke the most for the Breakfast Club? I don't know, David, do you want them to unmute themselves, or how should people reply?
I didn't want to unmute myself. Now you're asking me.
Okay.
I'm going to guess that it's Frank. He's spoken at every meeting.
But no.
But yeah, I guess if 1 or 2 people know, quickly unmute, answer, and then please put yourself back on mute.
Okay. Okay.
You stumped us.
Those people that have been with us for a long time, you should know.
Is it a tie between you and George?
Yes, I was saying that.
Okay, say it again.
You and George. It should be a tie.
Okay. Who said this?
Valerie?
Okay. Anybody else?
I would second that. This is Harish.
Okay. Okay. Let me. So we won't waste time. Let me tell you. I just found out this morning because I registered my presentation. I am the number 1, and this is my 15th presentation. But you did not mention number 2, Marty Latman. I didn't know that. I just looked it up today, but Martin is the second one. But anyhow, so let's get serious and let's start with the presentation. First, I need to apologize to you guys because I will not be able to share with you my slides. My slides have a lot of pictures. I did not ask for permission to use them. It's okay for me to use it. It's not okay for me to send it out over the internet. So I cannot send it to you. However, toward the end, I have a few gifts for you, so I will be able to provide you some valuable information. Next, I made a presentation 2 days ago, Thursday night, for Alicia Lisnow in Northern New Jersey, for that group. And the material there, I received very favorable comments. So I borrowed a few slides, a section actually from that, because I want to share that with you. I will go rather quickly through my slides, take pictures, take notes, do whatever you want. And so let's start. Traditionally, I've started something new that because I think you will not go into an office and have a personal interview for the several coming weeks, possibly even months. So therefore, I want to go very quickly to give you a few tips and tricks. What you need to do to appear best on the interview screen? So here we go. Okay, first, proper lighting. Very, very, very important. Lighting is probably, in terms of importance, #1 thing in my eyes. And in order to have good lighting, what you need to have lighting probably from 3 ways. And as you can see, look, I have a little mini studio here. I don't know if you see lights in my here. You see, I have some lights on my left because I want to make sure. See, I want to make sure that I have proper lighting, and I'll tell you why. You don't want to have shadows on your face. You know, if you have shadows, what will happen if you have, creases or whatever on your face, it will just accentuate it. So that's not good. So lighting is very, very important. Avoid backlight, which darkens your face. Every so often, I work with my clients and they sit and behind them, there is a window. I cannot see their face. So I tell them, move a little bit because, you are totally that. Look at the picture, in the left. You just cannot tell who that person is. Eliminate background distraction the focus should be on you. That's a very big thing. As you can see, I have in my background, this is an artificial screen. It's ceiling hung. I put it up just 5 minutes before I came on. And that basically forces you to look at me, which I want when I speak. Otherwise, you see books, you see a part of my desk, I have an extra computer and so forth. You don't want the interviewer to look at anything but at you. As you can see here above, the background is very distracting. Before I look at the lady here on the picture, I look at everything else in her background. Very, very, very distracting. And, when you watch nowadays news, CNN, CNBC, and people are talking from their home. Yes, I want to hear what they say, but I always, inadvertently or advertently, I see their background. I see their kitchen. Not good, not good. The camera should be at eye level. Very important. Why? Because if you bend your head down, the double chin comes out. If it's too high, you see people like myself that don't have a lot of hair left. So you really want to have, look, I put my finger on the camera, it's at my eye level. I elevated it. So when I look at you, it appears that I speak with you and not down or up. The audio portion of your video is also very, very important. I'm using, this. It's from my iPhone. I find it very good, very clear. Nobody tells me that they don't hear me clearly. And sometimes I work with people, or I see people that they have all kind of headset, big, small, and sometimes even colorful, and that is very distracting. And the quality of your voice is a must. It is absolutely essential, and I'll tell you why. In the American culture, if I cannot hear you properly, most people will not say, excuse me, can you repeat that one more time? No, 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 one more time. I didn't get it. People will just say, yes, yes, yes. They didn't hear what you say. And if they don't hear it, they don't comprehend it. And that is your loss. So make sure that you use the right device and test it out. Dress to impress. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. Dress properly. I know it's a coronavirus era. I'm very familiar with it. I'm aware of it. But still, dress properly. And I mentioned to one of my clients a few days ago, because he asked me, how am I supposed to get dressed for this video interview? And I said, well, if in your background, I see your kitchen cabinets and you appear to me in a suit and tie, I don't think that's appropriate. So use your best judgment how you want to dress. Find your best close-up. The person on the left is too much in your face. The person on the right is too little. It's like a stamp on your screen. My suggestion is find the right ratio. You see, if I were to move back as much as I can here, my face on your screen is very tiny. Yet, if I get so close, this is inappropriate. Okay, so find the proper distance from your camera so you look the right size, not too big, not too small. And position yourself in the frame. I see some of you that it appears that not your entire face is in the screen, especially for example, using GoToMeeting has your name under your picture. So there are people here that I see only half of their face. Bruce Wentworth, I see, because you are okay, you're positioned okay, but I see your name under, so I see you just above here. So take these things into consideration before the interview. And look at the camera, very, very important. You see, if I talk to you, and again, there's nobody else here, but it's very evident that I'm not looking at you. That's a little strange, right? So do the best you can to look at the camera to talk with the person. Okay. And any quick remarks, anything, very, very quick remarks, anything, any questions, anything at this point, because now we'll put it in a higher gear.
Nothing yet in chat, Alex.
Okay, good enough. Okay, so now we are getting into the topic. So tell me about yourself. And I found this very humorous, but you know what? It really tells us exactly what's happening in the interview. The candidate says, I like to begin by telling you everything about myself and how I really want this job. Yeah, that's great. Most people approach the interview with that mental intention. The other side of the desk is the hiring manager said, okay, how does this solve my problem? And this is everything. This sentence says everything about the interview. You are mistaken if you think that the interview is about you. The interview is about them. They are the decision makers. And I found here something also which I found nice. This is exactly what is happening in an interview. You see the three guys here, we are all competing for her approval. Yeah, that's what's happening. And this lady says, who is the best fit for me? So I think this caricature here or whatever describes exactly what's happening. So I want to ask you guys a question. As a candidate, which one is the most important? Do you have to sell? Do you have to charm, inspire, sway, impress, pressure, convince? I want to hear some input from you. What do you think in an interview? What do you have to apply? Which is the most important? You can unmute yourself. Just
So we're
unmute
getting
yourself.
a few of them. Sell, sell, all, sell, selling yourself, sell.
I think impress. You have to
I would
impress
say
them that you're the right
connecting as
person
a
for that
cultural
job.
fit.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Inspire,
can't.
charm, sell, convince,
Okay.
solve problems.
Let me give you my version. Again, most people say sell, right? Why? Because this is what we were taught. I'm so much against selling. I don't like it. I don't practice it. I believe that what you need to do, you need to bring up or build your brand, and then you don't have to sell. One of the books that I have recently, I'm rereading it. I will show it to you. It's a terrific book. You see, unfortunately, I don't see myself in the screen. I have too many things. So I don't know if you see what do you see what I'm showing you? Yeah, you do. You do. Terrific book. LinkedIn for personal branding. I read this book kind of before I marked it up. I'm rereading it now because I think everything is really about branding. If you build a brand, people will come to you. You don't need to go out and sell. But let's move on. I'll tell you what I think the answer, the most important is. Influence. That's what you need to do in an interview. You need to influence the other party. So what is the definition of influence? I want to make sure that we are all on the same page. It's having an effect on a person's behavior. Think about it. You go in for the interview because you want to influence the decision maker. And there are multiple ways to influence, but for the sake of this presentation and specifically in a job search, I want to focus on 3 ways to influence in a job search. It's a rational influence, there is an emotional influence, and there is the behavioral influence. So let's talk one by one. Let's talk about the rational influence. How do you influence the decision maker? Through logic. Of course, with your skills. They got you into their office because of your skills. And there is a saying in my business, we select for skills, we hire for personality. What got you into the interview is your skills. But now you compete with other people that also have very good skills. Your title or past title matters. They're influenced by that. Academic degrees. You are a senior vice president, and by the way, you also have a PhD. Yeah. Who you worked for in the past? You worked for big name companies, or you work just for some smaller company in the Midwest that nobody heard of. All this is influencing them. Your accomplishments, which I hope are clearly listed on your resume, all this is influencing the decision maker, and it's likely that's one of the reasons you have an interview. So this is the rational, that's the logical way how you can influence the interview. The next way is emotional influence. And perhaps we don't talk about it, but we do. We influence people a lot through emotions. For example, your brand, by the way, you have one. Even if you don't recognize it, you have a brand, and it better be a good one. And the brand is something that doesn't come easy, and you build it layer by layer, day after day, week after week. And if you make a stupid thing, you can ruin your reputation very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. Your reputation, again, that also goes along with the brand. Your culture. You work for Ernst & Young. They have a culture. Then you move to another company called Sanofi. It's a different culture. So you bring along your culture, and they take that into consideration. There is some prestige about you. Perhaps you are a patent holder, or you did something exceptionally. You are an authority, and I assume that because you held big positions. Perception is reality. I'm not the first one saying that. Whatever they learn about you via your LinkedIn profile, via your resume, it's a perception, but it's reality. Even religion has an impact. Assume you are from India and you are Sikh and you wear a turban, which is perfectly okay. It's great. When you walk into that video interview or office or wherever you have the interview, by looking at you, you make an impression on them. They take that into consideration. And the next one is behavioral influence. I wrote a handshake. Nowadays, we don't do many handshakes. But handshake is also part of how you influence. Your looks. Do you think looks matters? Ask Mr. Trump what he thinks about if looks matters. Yes, your looks matters, yes. Your attire. Why do you dress up for an interview? You want to impress them. You want to influence them. Your age. Do you think your age matters? Sometimes you may be too young. Yes, you may be too young. They don't want a 23-year-old kid. They want somebody who is in the mid-40s that has already 18 years experience, or vice versa. We know very well that we are not going to discuss it today, but age discrimination in America is very, very big. Not only in America, by the way, throughout the world. Your communication style, written and verbal. If you have an accent, and I work with many people that have a very strong accent, yes, it's a part of the influence. Body language. Oh my God, yes. I don't know if you guys remember, in 2018, I made a 1-hour presentation to the Breakfast Club all about body language. Yes, we influence people through our body language. So I briefly reviewed these three, but I have a question to you. Which is the most prevalent influencers out of these three? I want some input from you. There is a logical, there is a behavioral. Which one?
I'll be watching the chat for people that give their input.
David, could you please repeat it one more time? I couldn't hear you.
I will be watching the chat.
Oh.
All three, behavioral, emotional.
No, which is the most? Which is the most? Don't tell me all three. You didn't answer my question.
Okay, behavioral, emotional, behavioral, just waiting.
Okay.
Emotional.
Okay, so here is my answer.
Emotional, behavioral.
heavily on emotions. Yes, heavily on emotions. I would say the most important one is, of the three, all of them are important, but the most important one is emotional. So what I want to tell you is this: how are hiring decisions made? More on what they see than what they hear. Does somebody want to give me an interpretation, or what do you think? Why am I saying that what they see is more influencing them than what they hear during the interview? Can somebody just chime in?
Body language is important.
I'd like to chime in on that, Alex.
Who
I
is
think
this?
that this is Jay.
Jay, please.
So what they hear may not be as important. Anybody can recite words that they have memorized or that they read in a book, that they learned, something that they parrot that other people told them. You should say this in an interview. But what they see is how confident you are, how you believe what you're saying. And I think that carries a stronger message. If they look at you and they say, this is what he believes, he's confident in what he's saying, these are his words, this is not something he's memorized or parrot. If you memorize, so you could be looking up and trying to remember the words you memorized, you're looking him in the eye and you're telling him those words like you believe them. I think that's more important than what they're hearing.
Yeah, Jay, very, very well put. I want another input, and then I will tell you what I think.
This is Deb Takish. I have an opinion. I think your eyes, what you see, registers faster in your brain than what you hear.
Okay, let me tell you what my version, and trust me, every client of mine has heard this. The human brain is not very good memorizing content, words, script. Not very good, by the way. The human brain is very good remembering image. And I do this with every client of mine. I ask them, okay, let's test what I said. Can you please tell me verbatim 2 or 3 sentences you exchanged with another human 2 days ago? And I'm waiting. So far, none of my clients could give me an answer. Okay, I said, fine, thank you, I appreciate that. Let me ask you another question. Have you seen a James Bond movie? Everybody so far said yes. I said, yeah, I've seen it too. May I assume that that wasn't yesterday or last week? May I assume it was 3 years ago, 5, 10, 15 years ago? People say yes. I said, okay, so let me just, I want just to spend a few seconds. Do you remember a James Bond movie that, you know, he was flying low in a helicopter and he jumped out and there was a red sports car waiting? And I remember a gorgeous blue lady was sitting there. And as soon as they jumped in the car, 2 minutes later, they sped off and I see them on the lake in a speedboat and the helicopter chase. And all of a sudden, the individual myself, they have a 5-minute conversation about a James Bond movie. So then I said, now wait a second, what's wrong with this picture? I asked you to tell me 2 sentences that happened only yesterday. And you said I can't. But when I'm talking with you about James Bond, which happened 15 years ago, we can have a wonderful 10-minute conversation about that movie. Why is that? How do you explain that? Because this is exactly how the human brain works. We convert information into images. We don't remember words, letters, numbers, script, text. We don't. So let's take this concept, if you agree with me, let's take this concept and bring it into the interview process. Let's say there are 5 people that are interviewing, and may I assume we are talking about a 3-week process, 4 or 5-week process. At the end of the process, the decision maker and hopefully the team, they get together, they have all the resumes and all the information in front of them, and it's time to make some sort of a decision. They will not remember how you answer question number 4 versus the 5th candidate who answered differently. They don't have an Excel sheet in their head to put everything down and see who answered which question what way. But I can absolutely assure you, they will remember the color of your hair, how you looked like, they will remember your age, they will remember what you were dressing, they will remember your background. That's what they will remember. So if you accept what I just explained, it's very important for you to make the very, very best impression on them visually, but also what you say. So that is answer. Okay, so here I give you several emotional decisions, how people make decisions. Greed. They said, if I make a decision now, I will be rewarded. Fear. If I'm not making a decision now, I am toast. My boss told me I better start hiring quickly because that person is needed. So fear. Envy. If I do not make a decision now, my competition will. So I better do it now. Pride. If I make a decision now, I will look smart. That's great. Shame. If I don't make a decision now, I will look stupid. So these are emotionally driven decisions. And I love to quote something that I read somewhere because for me it resonates so well. And this is what that book said. Nobody drives a Mercedes because they need a car. People buy expensive cars for other reasons. You know, there are very, very fast cars that you can buy for very, very big amount of money. Now, wait a second, the speed limit in my town is 35. That car can do easily 180 and even more. Why are people buying this fast car? Not because of the speed. There are other reasons, prestige perhaps. But anyhow, let's move on. Altruism, again, if I make a decision now, I will help people, I will feel good. So these are all emotion-based decisions. The question is, okay, so what not to do in a job interview? And I'm going to list several because I think they are important. Appear unprepared. Let me tell you, of course, the people that I work with, they're all a kind of unprepared. That's the reason they come to me. But amazingly, I interviewed many, many people. They knew they have an interview. They come to the office and said, can they give one example or 2 examples? They're not prepared for this competition that I called interview. Not good. Recite your resume. A big, big mistake. I ask people, so tell me about yourself. And all of a sudden, I hear, 8, 10, 15-minute dissertation about, going all the way back and all the accomplishments and so forth. Not good. Or share your life story. Again, so tell me about yourself. And I hear wonderful stories, which is great. After I hire you and we have lunch, it's wonderful for you to share me, things about your grandfather and your father and your dogs and all this, but not now. Talk about anything that may seem irrelevant. If you create something like this in an interview situation, I kind of doubt what are the chances for you to get that position. Again, a little bit of humor, yes, not too much. and be long-winded. I should make a sign in front of me because that's one of my traits. But again, please don't be long-winded. Okay, now we will start having fun. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to need a volunteer. I'm very nice because I will ask you this question, which is right here. So I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, you're prepared. I want to hear what you say. I want to make some comments, constructive comments. I guarantee you I will not embarrass anyone. Then I will demonstrate how I do it. Then you have a chance to critique me. And then I will explain to you why I said what I said. And then I will give you a summary. So you'll have that. So now let's put ourselves in the interview mode. I need a volunteer.
Alex, so for everybody, if you want to volunteer, just volunteer in the chat. Say, I volunteer, I'll see your name. But in the meantime, we do have a question. So maybe answer the question while we get the volunteer.
Happy to do that.
We have a question from Frank. What is the best way to impact emotional influence on a phone interview?
Well, people say that you can smile on the phone and they can hear, and I kind of believe that. Also, you have the opportunity to use your voice appropriately. Every so often I work with people, and in a nice way, with a smile on my face, I tell them, forgive me for making this comment, but I really want to help you. You remind me very much my GPS talking to me when I drive a car. You talk very monotonously and nothing what you say is different and so forth. You can use your voice. If it's something important, raise your voice, then lower your voice. You can even put a pause. Definitely you should master this. Here is what's happening, and I read about this. When you go for an interview, you're excited. This is not, every Monday and Wednesday. I hope it is. But really, so there is a tendency for some people when they're under pressure to speak very fast. Many people do that, by the way. So learn to speak slower. I know your brain wants to get it out quick. But if you speak to me very, very quick, I may not comprehend everything. Use your voice and your emotions will come out that way.
Okay, and nobody has volunteered just yet. So if you would like to have a quick mock interview with Alex.
Am I so frightening? What is this? You guys are my family. What's wrong with you? Am I frightening? I mean, trust me, I will not embarrass anyone. I will not embarrass anyone.
We have volunteers. Now we have 3 so far. So this is John Morales. So John, if you want, please unmute yourself and Alex will guide you through. If we have time, maybe he'll do others.
Okay, let's see. My screen here, you have no idea what I see here on my screen. I don't. So John, talk, say something. I want to make sure that I see you on my screen, but it's covered with all kinds of things here.
Remember, Alex, change your viewing from everyone to maybe active cameras, or the other is you can change it to who's talking. So when John speaks, yeah.
I just did, David. I just see you because you were talking.
I'll keep quiet.
Okay, so good. Thank you.
So is that John?
Can you hear me? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great.
Okay, so John, can you please tell me about yourself?
Okay, sure. So is this my elevator pitch? Is that what you're looking for, sir?
Listen, you just came. I invited you for an interview. It's a video interview. There is, by the way, nobody else online here. It's only you and me. And I'm
Great.
asking you, you know, so I'm interviewing you. And by the way, you are number 3. I already had 2. I have another 2 after that. So you just came up on my screen, and I said, John, can you please tell me about yourself?
Sure. I work for Prudential Advisors. I'm their systems matter expert for Salesforce. So I get to interact with a number of different departments here at work, from our systems people, being a liaison, to our learning and development area, to our end users. I'm the admin, so I get to make updates to our software system. It's a great way to interact with everyone. It's a real team environment here at Prudential Advisors.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I would like perhaps 1 or 2 comments from other people, and I will make some comments. I would like somebody to chime in and a kind of, if you were to be evaluating, John, then what comments would you have? Constructive criticism I'm looking for. Just unmute yourself and make a comment.
I would say that John told us what he does, not who he is.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so go ahead.
Valerie, there were a lot of ums. It's the point that I started counting them.
Yeah, that's fine. You know, of course, I'm very forgiving on that. You know, this is not. Yeah.
Hi, I noticed that it seemed like he was reciting his resume, which, you know, you just told us not to do. But to be fair, John, I would do the same thing. I don't know what else I would say.
Okay, so now, okay, so let me move to the next slide. You see, John, John, come back, say something so you come back on my screen.
Hello?
Yeah,
you
you're on my screen. Good. Now I can see you. Okay, John, I have to make a confession to you. I misled you.
Okay.
Because, you know, I asked you, John, tell me about yourself, right? That was my question. But let me tell you what I had in mind. Tell me about yourself as it relates to your ability to help our organization. But I didn't say that. All I said, tell me about yourself, right? And you basically answered to that question. So now, John, do me a favor. You ask me, Alex, tell me about yourself. I will reply, and then I will explain why I said what I said. And then I will share with you the summary of that. So now you are interviewing me, and I came to your office, and you say,
tell me about yourself.
John, it's my pleasure. I've been a director of facilities and support services. I had a department of about 160 people, 8 direct reports. The budget was close to $10 million, and the scope of work was to provide services, typically in Fortune 100 companies' headquarters. For example, 15 years I spent in Morristown, New Jersey, with a company called Honeywell, and I'm sure you heard about Honeywell. I supervised several departments. One of them, I recall, was called records management. The records management was a department with the scope of work to store, to archive, physically archive legal documents for the benefit of the corporate legal department. I had 2 people in my office, additional 2 guys in a remote leased warehouse. After about 6 months or so that I took over this department, I saw an opportunity to outsource this department to a vendor. And by doing that, I was able to save Honeywell $250,000 year after year since, and increase my customer satisfaction at the same time. John, now that you know a little bit about my professional background, allow me to ask you a question. I'm curious, what would the hired candidate be doing, say, the first 2-3 weeks on the job? So now you are answering, and this is what you say. Alex, thank you. Not only me, but 2 of my other peers were actually summoned into the CFO's office. The CFO rejected our originally submitted budget. He said, take it back. I want you guys to reduce the budget by additional 4%. And he said, I want it back on my desk within a month. So now I know what problems you have. You have to reduce the budget, and you don't have, too many months to play with. You have quickly get it done, put it on this desk. So I heard your problem. So now I'm coming back to you with a big smile on my face, and I say, John, this is music to my ear. Let me share with you a very, very relevant experience. About 4 years ago, I was hired by this company. I was only 1 week with the company, at which point my boss asked me to reduce the budget by 6%. I put a team together, 3 people on the team. I was back in my boss's office within 10 days. I walked him step by step through my spreadsheet, through my bullets, and I showed him and actually convinced him that I'm able to reduce the budget not 6%, but 7.25%. And this reminds me, I will not forget this very soon. A week after this, we had a staff meeting, and I remember I was sitting in the right corner, and the department head that was sitting at the head of the table at the end of the meeting said, okay, guys, hold it, don't leave yet. I want to talk about Alex. And he points at me. He said, Alex joined us just a week ago. I dumped on him what I dumped on all of you. He came back to my office with a spreadsheet, and he convinced me he can do even better than what I asked, 6%. He did 7.25%. And then he looked at me and he said, Alex, you're most welcome in this department. I'm so glad you could join us. And then he said, bravo, and he started clapping, and everybody else was clapping. So now you understand why this is such a memorable event. Okay, I want to hear, what did you guys, or you, John, what did you hear? I know it was a little long. It was long because it was a monologue. I was the only one talking, but actually it was supposed to be a dialogue, because I spoke for both parties. But there were 4 buckets of information that I put on the table. And I knew that you're going to ask me this question. I prepared with an answer. John, since I tortured you, you are the first one to speak. Tell me if you liked it. It's okay to tell me you didn't like it. Critique it. Tell me whatever you want. I'm ready to hear.
Well, what you told him was, it was relevant for what he needed. That was important. I wouldn't know. I would just go by the job description, what they're looking for, base it on that. The person would give me a little background on, their company before we start. And so I would try to relate what I'm saying to what, they would be looking for in the job description. Is that what you did? Did you take, is that some of the criteria that they were looking for when you were interviewing in that job description?
Let me give myself credit and let's say yes.
Okay.
No, yeah. John, if you were to interview me, was this a good answer, a bad answer, mediocre, anything? If you were to really interview me, and this is what played out on your video, what's the high level evaluation? What is a good answer, not good answer? What do you think?
A good answer is trying to mimic anything that I'm looking for in a candidate. So if you're giving me back what I'm looking for, then I think that's a good answer. If that's what I was looking for in a candidate, what you were telling me, then you were spot on.
Okay. Okay, yeah, very well. Okay, good. Any other comments? And I want to hear one or two other comments and then we'll move on.
Alex, it's Valerie.
Yeah.
It was a little long for me. I didn't catch when you were switching back and forth between, for lack of better word, personalities, from the interviewer to the interviewee.
Okay. Yeah, excellent, excellent, excellent. I try to kind of speed it up. Yeah, okay, good. No, that excellent comment. One more comment and then I move on and explain to you exactly what happened here.
Alex, this is Jay. I agree with Valerie. It was a little bit long for me, but one thing that I noticed you didn't do, and it's something I always try and do in an interview, is before I start talking about myself, I try and find out what problem they're trying to solve. So
I did. I did that. You remember I said, now that you know a little bit about me, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What would a hired candidate do? And you said, we need to reduce the budget. No, didn't I say that?
It was tough because maybe it played into what Valerie was saying, because I wasn't able to pick it out from what was going on between you as the interview, who was doing the interviewing and the interviewee. Maybe it was just tough to follow.
Okay. Okay, so let me move on, or we'll save some time. Okay, here is what happened. It's a 5-step approach to this. They or them. Tell me about yourself, you. A short answer that includes an example of a success story. Immediately after that, with a question to identify the organization needs. I said, now that you know a little bit about me, let me ask you a question. What would a hired candidate be involved with in the first 2-3 weeks? And the answer was, we need to reduce the budget by what did I say, by 4%? Did I say that or I missed that? Perhaps I missed that. I don't know. But anyhow, and then once they tell you their priorities, I give them a success story relevant to those needs and priorities. So these are the 5 steps. If you are interested, I have one page and I'm happy to send it to you that summarizes this. Okay, let's move on. Any other question at this point? I know we went through question because I want to move to the next part of my presentation. Anything you may not have?
Yeah, Alex, I don't see additional questions in chat.
Okay,
now, just folks, there's a lot of comments because you're answering Alex's kind of polling questions. So if you have questions, remember to precede it with the word questions, just so it stands out among all the comments in chat.
Okay, we will have at the end a question and answer period. So let's move on. Okay, now, have you considered getting help from a professional? And I want to emphasize and re-emphasize, I am not talking about me right now. I'm talking about general. I told you, I was introduced, I'm a career coach. My specialty is interview practice, interview preparation. So I want to emphasize and re-emphasize whatever I'm going to show you now. It's not about me. I'm not here to solicit your business. Okay, but I will tell you a little bit about my approach. When I have a significant issue, I never hesitate going to professionals. In my personal life, financially, I deal with professionals. When I have an insurance issue, I go to public adjuster. When I have a medical issue, I go to the expert, to the specialist. When I was in transition, I hired myself a coach. I can't do it by myself. I need help. So that's me. Not everybody is like that, but I'm going to walk you through what are the advantages because I want to make you aware of it. So what can a career coach do? A career coach creates a roadmap that contains job search tools and information. I have people in my office and they come in and many of them are not very focused. They know where they want to go, but they are not able to, and that's the reason they come to me. So a career coach can provide you a roadmap, can provide you information, can provide you guidance. I think very figuratively, and often I give the example. People show up at my house and they walk in with a bucket full of pebbles and rocks and so forth. And they come to my office and they take the bucket and they just dump it on my desk. And they said, okay, here is my life. Here is where I am. And then I'm looking at these pebbles and I said, oh, look at these small ones. Let's put them in a corner. Oh, some of them are purple. Let's put them in a different corner. Some of them are really big and round. Let's put them in a different corner. So what I do, I create a little order in their life, specifically as it relates to making presentations, interviews, and so forth. You know, at the end of the session, they tell me, now I understand where I am, now I understand where I need to go. So a career coach can help you, clearly can help you, giving you a roadmap. Some can recommend specialists for resume writing, LinkedIn profile, cover letters. This is what I call business collateral. This is what you need. This is what you are selling. Don't go out and try to get a job if you don't have your marketing collateral at a very high level of success. Don't think that every person that declares himself as a career coach can do everything. People specialize. I told you, my specialty is interview preparation. Other people specialized in this, in LinkedIn, resume. There are other people that can recommend specialists for identifying your next type of job career. There are so many people that I meet and they say, Alex, I've been a vice president, I'm in finance. This is not what I want to do. I still have another 15, 20 years of work ahead of me. I don't want to be in XYZ business, but I don't know what to do. So they have a need to pivot or to shift to a different area. I admit to you, this is not my specialty, but there are people that know how to do this. I can tell you that a year ago or so, my son asked me to help him do something different than what he has been doing in the past. And I said, I'm sorry, I cannot help you, although I'm a career coach, but I'm a good dad, and I'm going to hire somebody for you that I know that can help you. So again, there are specialists that help you with that. Move from job A to career B. And there are people, and this is what I do, I can improve your interview skill by practicing and getting feedback. That's what I do. But again, let me emphasize, I'm not soliciting your business. I will give you here, I have here, by the way, here is the book. I have the book here. I read it more than once. I marked it up. I mean, I read it like I read books in college. I love this book. Strongly suggest that you read it. And I found in this book some very important and relevant information, and I want to share it with you. The question is, how do you select a coach? Regardless which coach you need, but how do you select one? Look for recommendations from others that had success. That's rule number one. There are so many service providers. There are so many coaches out there. There's so many people that confess that they are wonderful in writing LinkedIn profiles. For me, the best way to get that information is essentially go to people that said, I used XYZ and I'm very pleased. That's an individual you want to follow up with. Ask yourself, is there a free consultation available? That's very, very important. I made it a habit because I know I need it. When I get an individual that is inquiring about my services, I say, you know what, let's have a Zoom chat. I want to get to know you. I want you to get to know me. I want to give you all the time it takes to ask me questions about the process or anything, because before you commit money, you need to know what you're paying for and what you'll get out. So I want to make myself available. What is the cost? Is it posted on the website? Why not? Is it too high or too low? This is something that, you know, infuriates me. I did a lot of research on my competition. I am embarrassed to tell you, 80+% of my competition does not have their prices listed. I can't believe this. When you go and you buy a car, how would you like to buy a car without having a sticker on the window? When you go to supermarket and you want to buy a can of beans, would you buy it without knowing how much the cashier will charge you? I cannot understand why people do not put their price there. And even if you are able to find out the price, find out, is the price low or is the price high? Is it unreasonable? I can tell you this. I know people that will provide you a resume and they charge about $100. I know people that they will prepare your resume in $600, $700, $800, and $900. Why so much different? Find out. If it's too high or too low, there must be a reason for it. Find out and you be the judge. How many sessions do you need? And how long is a session? I did research. Some coaches do 45 minutes, other 50. Nobody does 55, by the way. I never found anybody. But they do 50 and they do 60, and some people do more. Are these individually priced sessions or a part of some package to choose from? Sometimes coaches kind of bundle it together and they say, if you do this and this, you get a discount. Are you asked to make payment upfront, and how? Another annoying issue for me. Why in the coaching business do you have to make payment upfront? I don't get it, but some people demand that. Now I don't know if you remember when you flew an airplane last. By the way, when I fly, there's never a cashier at my exit door. They ask for payment. I pay upfront. So there are some industries that you pay upfront. But when you go to your doctor, before you step into the office, do you have to make a deposit? Do you have to pay upfront? No. So, you know, I don't understand why in this industry, in my industry, some people ask for payment upfront. And how do they want you to pay? Is it cash? Is it PayPal? Is it check? Is it Venmo? Is it Zelle? How? You need to know all that upfront. Inquire about their background and years of experience. You know, this is an unregulated business. By the way, how did I become a career coach? Like David says, I declared myself a career coach. It happened 14 years ago. Lucky for me, I'm doing very well. But again, some people are just a few months in the business. So find out from them how long they've been there, what their experience. Is the coach a generalist or specializing in some aspect of career coaching? If you need interview preparation, then go to somebody that does that. If you need LinkedIn profile help, you go to that person. Use a specialist. Is it a set program or tailored to your needs? Very important. You know, when you talk to the individual, is this like a dentist that says, hi, welcome, sit down, open your mouth, and 10 seconds later you feel a drill in your mouth? Is it like that? Or the program is tailored to your specific needs? Can you identify candor, honesty, or you're treated like a transaction. Very, very important. Don't ever work with somebody that you don't feel that you level with them and there is honesty, integrity, trust between you and him or her. Is the coach current with state-of-the-art trends and knowledge? There is one individual, of course, I'm not going to embarrass him and name him, but when I talk about him, without mentioning a name, in my book, he's stuck in 1986. Everything the individual does is, the way it was done, way, way, way back. He's not current. Is coaching done in person via phone or video? Most of it today is in video, some of it is on the phone. Very few people, I don't think anybody does it nowadays in person. I do it all via video. I don't remember the last time I did it over the phone. Are the days and hours flexible, meeting your need? Some coaches say, I'm available between 9 and 5, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, or whatever. Well, are they bending and making themselves available when you need them? Big question. And do you have to sign a contract? I remember when I was in transition way back, I joined a company that they attempted or promised they will help me. The first thing is they wanted me to sign a contract. Big mistake. Don't sign contracts. Any questions at this point? And I have one more segment and then we are done. And the next sentence is very, very short.
Yeah, so Alex, there is one question. Excuse me, please, if you can, keep the questions in chat, just a little bit easier with close to 70 on the line. So there's a question.
Statement, David.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So the one thing I wanted to point out that Alex's section here didn't cover was related to if you hear of any firms, and they usually bill themselves as executive resources. And what they'll try and tell you is that they have this elaborate network of hiring managers and they could basically do the search for you. And they're so slick in their presentation. They'll call you in, they'll even tell you to bring your spouse, and they usually quote, thousands of dollars. I've seen people taken for $5,000, $10,000, and as much as $20,000. And they tell you that they're going to market you on their own, and you just pay them. And because they have this extensive network of hiring executives with, strong relationships, that they'll find you a job. There's no such service that exists where people will take on your job search for you and then represent you and you pay them and they'll find you a job. They're scams. And unfortunately, we see them rise, especially when unemployment gets high, because people are usually in the market for a longer period of time, and there's more desperation because, there's fewer jobs available at the time. Do not fall victim to those types of scams because, unfortunately, I hear of people every year. I just had a senior member of the Breakfast Club who's been a member for over 10 years, and we must have talked about this countless times. And I said, I got approached by this firm, and they're asking me for $10,000, and they'll do the search for me, and I don't want to be out there and tip my hand to my employer so they can do it confidentially. I said, no, there's no such service. And then he started digging into business, better BBB reports, Better Business Bureau, and things like that, and was able to find that they had substantial claims against them. So please, make sure that you're following Alex's advice here very carefully. I mean, he's given a lot of great tips here on how to determine if the coach is legitimate, also if they're a match for you. But if anybody approaches you and tries to, do the search on your behalf and they're asking an exuberant amount, the alarm bell should go off and never entertain giving them money under those circumstances. I'm sorry, I just wanted to make sure to make that point, because it just breaks my heart when I see people that are taken advantage of, especially when they're very vulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah, I am embarrassed and not embarrassed to tell you that I was a victim of such a company in Princeton. Executive career moves. I paid them $70 to $100. I have gotten nothing out of it. I lost my money, and I was desperate. I was absolutely desperate, and I had the money in the savings account, and I said, would it make me happier to have $70 to $100 in my savings account, or I'm buying myself opportunities and hope? I went for the latter. Big mistake. I have a saying that I've been saying this for many years. When you show any bone to a hungry dog, that bone is very appealing. And this is exactly what happened to me. I mean, yes, it was very appealing. I was looking for a job for 9 months. I couldn't find it on my own. And all of a sudden, this company was recommended to me, and I went for it. What a big mistake. Anyhow.
Well, there is a question, Alex, from
Please.
Grace. Can you go back a few slides? Can you repeat the 5 steps to answering the question? Maybe show the slide. So there it is. I guess, folks, if you want to take a screenshot quickly.
Yeah, if you want, you know, you'll see at the end. I'm more than happy to send this to you. You'll need. I'll tell you how. I'm more than happy to send this to you.
Okay. And let's see if there's anything else. 1 second. Some people commenting on Frank's comment, which was very valuable. And so no other questions right now. So let's keep moving. Home stretch time.
Yeah, just very little, and we are done. Okay, wow, look at this. I have a gift for you, huh? I told you, or I wrote a little bit somewhere, I think on LinkedIn or somewhere, that I have some surprises for you. So here, I have a gift for you. I'm willing to send you, you know, last week I did a little cleanup on my computer, and I found several documents which I created years ago for the benefit of my clients. And you know what? They were tucked away, they were hidden somewhere in a subdirectory on my computer. Said, what on earth am I keeping it here? I'm willing to give this out to people because I want to be helpful. So this document is called The Elements of a Successful Job Search. What you see here is only an eighth of what it is. It makes sense to review it because I organized the way how you should go about finding a job. The next thing, a review of the job search process. I approached the same topic, but from a different angle. And it says here what to do and where and how, why is it important, and results of do nothing. What happens if you do nothing? I'm more than happy to send that to you as well. The next document is something that I prepared. You know, I work with clients. I've been for the last 14 years, and they're asking me all kinds of questions. They said, you know, people ask me, Alex, is my LinkedIn profile good? How is my verbal communication? How is my whatever? So I said, let me put a document together by which I can identify the item that you have a concern with and give you an example. And I named it poor, better, okay, superior, and excellent. And I'm giving you example in each. Happy to send that to you. It doesn't help anyone if this is sitting, you know, on my desk. Now, I told you I'm giving you a gift, right? So have you heard this before? Beware of Greeks bearing gifts, right? So I'm fair to you. I'm kind of warning you. Here's what I want from you. Do you guys remember Mayor Koch? How am I doing? This is what I need to ask myself. I do many presentations. I'm happy to tell you I'm just about shy of 500 presentations I've done in the last 14 years. I want to know how, if you benefit from it, how good is my presentation? But not that only. I want to find out how can I do better for the next presentation to other people. So I'm really looking for your help. In order to make this very palatable, I made it a very, very, very simple. Here is what I want you to do. Go to my website. This is my website, landingexpert.com. I will have the website later on. Go to the last tab. It's called Survey. Click on that. That will open this page. And in this page, look at this. It says press here to open the presentation survey. You click on that, and that will open a Google form. Very, very simple form. All I'm asking you to put today's date, because this is how I'm differentiating responses from various groups. All I'm asking you to answer overall rating of the presentation. All I want you to give me numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the best. And don't write me any words, just give me a number. The next one is, how useful was this presentation? In other words, do you walk away feeling that I spent an hour here, I got out of it whatever I wanted? Is it useful? Again, just give me a number. And then the last question is, how could this presentation be improved? I am very interested, very curious, honestly, to hear, because I think my presentations are wonderful. Well, I'm not the judge here. You are the judge. I need to hear from you. What is what you like change next time? And as soon as you did this, and by the way, if this takes you more than 1 minute, you are a very slow person. This should be very, very fast. And then you click submit, and then I will receive an email saying an answer came in, and I will tabulate it. And when I have enough, I will put it here. You see, press here to view past surveys. I will put it there. Okay. I think this. Okay. That's it. We have just a few more minutes. I gave you my email address, my website address, my phone number. I'm here to help you. Or if you, to get those documents and the tell me about yourself document, write to me and say, Alex, please send me the 4 documents, period. That's all you need to do. And I instantly would click, 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 attach it, and I'm giving it to you. That's all I'm asking you. I gave you an hour and 20 minutes. I'm asking you in return 30 seconds. Please do that. This is so important, not for me. It's important for the next group that I'm going to present.
Well, thank you,
Questions?
Alex. Yeah, thank you, Alex. We'll wait for some of the questions to come in. We'll leave this slide up for a few more minutes so people make sure they have time to either take a screenshot or write down your contact information. And also to let people know that once we formally end the meeting in just a couple minutes, we're going to leave this session open just for some open networking. If we were back at the Days Hotel where we would normally meet, we usually hang around the room and have some open networking time. And so it's just an opportunity to virtually open network. So we'll do that. But meantime, if you have a question or two, put that in the chat so Alex can answer. And by the way, the virtual networking that we'll do in just a few minutes, at that point, yeah, turn your mics on. We're not going to require that people only talk to each other through chat. That was just the formality of this meeting. But Alex, so far we're getting quite a few thank yous and appreciation. Great presentation, wonderful presentation. So that's good. Another great presentation. Okay, I see one question without the word question, except I have a question. I have a question for Alex about his terrific backdrop. Is that a screen?
Yes, it's a screen that it's hung from my ceiling, and I put it here like 2 minutes before I came on. As soon as I'm done here, I have a 3-step ladder here, and I'm going up and I'm unhooking, because if I take that off, you just see my bag. I want you to look at me and nothing else.
Okay, that's a good idea. And yeah, it certainly makes for a plain background, a background that is not distracting. So that certainly becomes very helpful. I know when you do your virtual interview presentation, you talk about not having a distracting background. And you know, also, I do a short version presentation like that. I let people know I don't like using the electronic backgrounds, digital backgrounds, because if it's not exactly right as you move around, parts of your head or your shoulders can fade in and out. And I actually have a picture of one of those. A woman has that Zoom virtual background of the Golden Gate Bridge. It's a beautiful picture. I've actually been on that veranda looking down, but she's so blended in with her, I guess, highlights in her hair, and also she had no arms. So she had a black blouse that ended at the sleeve, just the way Zoom or the camera interpreted it. So you have to be very careful.
David, I've just posted into the chat window, and it's just a quick Amazon link, but if you scroll down that link that I gave, it shows all the different types of backgrounds that you can get. Now, there's variations on all of this. I mean, my God, I have a whole bedroom dedicated to my studio. So mine's like, I don't know, 12 feet wide. You obviously don't need anything like that. Alex, yours looks like a circle, right? I think
yeah, it's an oval. It's an oval.
Right? So there's all different shapes and sizes, but if you just go to Amazon, I mean, go do an internet search, right? If you look at Amazon, though, you'll see that there's this wide range of, canvas backgrounds that you can choose from. So, they have the ones, typically, this used to be done when you had those formal portraits, and the portrait photographer had a number of backdrops. It's basically the same thing. So this way you could get something that's oval, you could get something that's bigger. If you're going to stand and actually give a presentation and you have a camera set up, your use case varies, but there's a ton of these available that you can buy.
Yeah.
Yep. Thanks, George.
Back to Alex's point, they don't work if you don't have the right lighting.
Yep.
That's the key.
I purchased this many years ago, B&H Photo in New York City.
Yep.
The manufacturer is Botero. B like boy, O like office, T like Thomas, E like Edward, R like rubbers, O, Botero. I bought it used. I don't need a new one. I can fold it and I can put it in the storage. I would say I paid between 25 to 35, something like that. They're not very expensive. I use it all the time. No big deal.
All right. Well, no more questions have come in, Alex. So why don't we just say thank you very much. Your programs are not only informative, and they certainly very much are. You're clearly very well researched, but it's also nice. They're light and fun, and helps keep our attention through the hour and 20 minutes that you presented. For me, the time went quickly. So say.
Hi, I just had a quick question.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sorry. So the question is, when you're on Zoom, I find myself looking at the person, who's on the main screen versus looking at the camera. Is that not a good practice?
It's very, very difficult. I mean, you really need to be a trained person to be able to look at the camera and think at the same time. I'm not able to see right now. I'm looking at the camera, but it's very, very difficult. I'm looking at my screen, and then I see people. I can react. Normally, we react to people's body language. If I talk to you and smile, essentially you indicate to me, I like what you say. On your facial expression, I can quickly evaluate what I say. Does it make sense? Do you like it or you don't? So we are in the habit of looking at people's faces. It's very difficult to look at that little thing on our laptop.
I'll give you a cheat that works. Now, obviously, this is predicated on how you're set up, but if you're using either a laptop or you have a webcam attached to your screen, what I would advise is take a picture of yourself.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Oops, George, you went silent, George.
But it went muted somehow. So what I would do is print out a picture of yourself, a small picture of yourself, cut a hole in the middle of it, and put your webcam in the middle of the hole. And this way you're going to be forced to look at a face, because if you cover up your computer, right, because if you're looking at the screen, they don't know you're looking at it. But if you actually make the camera in the middle of that picture, it's going to give you something to look at. And it's going to force you to kind of look at the picture rather than the screen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, certainly the thing you want to avoid
I'm not sure
is
I fully got that, but
certainly what
yeah.
you want to avoid, Seema, is that when the camera is above the screen, which is often where it's placed, and you look down at the screen, then your audience, the people that are interviewing you, are looking at your forehead.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Your audience is really the camera, even though similar to what Alex said, you're responding to the visual cues. I think it's okay to scan up and down a little bit. And then it becomes even more challenging, some people that use two screens, where they look at the screen on the left, but the camera is on the right. Your audience will see the right side of your face. And you want to understand that's not necessarily the best way to have a face-to-face video interview.
Well, the other thing you can do, if you're not sharing like a PowerPoint presentation, just get a white piece of paper and a piece of Scotch tape and Scotch tape their face.
Yeah.
Just Scotch tape the screen. You're going to be forced again to look up.
Yeah.
Another thing that you can do is change the at least in GoToMeeting, and I think Zoom and the other platforms have it as well, is that you can change to show just the person who's talking. And if you can configure it so that the line of people is on the top. So your visual camera is on the top. So you could put the person who's talking right underneath the camera. Like right now, I can see the person who's talking. Well, I'm talking, but I could, if I was watching somebody or somebody's talking to me, their picture is right underneath my camera.
Right, that's what I meant, is that if the only person on the screen is the person that you're talking to, then I mean, it feels just natural to me that I'm just looking at them and not at the camera, but I just don't know how that is received on the other end.
It's received that you're not looking at them.
Oh, so I should actually look at the camera?
Because remember, Seema, the camera is is the position they're seeing from.
Uh-huh.
Right? If the camera is at the top of your screen or the top of your laptop, what you want to be able to do is look at them in the eye. The camera's eye is their eye.
Okay.
I had my external monitor with my content above my laptop, not to the right, not to the left. I want some feedback. Was it odd that I look, for example, right now, I'm looking at that. Is it odd? I want some feedback. You see, right now, David, I'm looking at you.
Right.
I'm looking at you, but right now I'm looking up at my external screen. Is this odd? Is this bad?
No, I don't think it's bad to look up at your screen occasionally. I think it's very natural as people that if we were one-on-one, we might look away or look at something a little off the center. But I think most of the focus in a typical conversation is we look at each other in the eyes. I know when I do virtual presentations, I keep my notes on other windows. I scroll the content up so it's closer to the camera, so I have more of the impression as I'm reading, give more of the impression that I'm looking at you as I'm reading, almost like a teleprompter. So, I think you and I have done this enough that we're more sensitive and aware. In Seema's case, it's something she's asking about, and I think a lot of people will have that opinion, that question as well. But, your audience is the camera, or the people that are viewing you through the camera. But Alex is right. You do get visual cues from the people, and I think it's okay to glance every once in a while. Why don't I officially just say I'm going to end the recording, but thank you, Alex. But we will keep the session open, of course, but this way we can just stop the recording. No more questions came in the context of the meeting. You're welcome to keep your slide up or not, Alex. That's up to you. I think if you remove the slide, then we can see more faces as we keep the open networking going. So thank you once again. Oh, yeah.
This is Freund. I just wanted to bring up one more topic before we close and go into open networking.
Sure.
I've been getting a number of emails and calls from different members, and apparently people are trying to take advantage of the economic times to put out, phishing and malware and ransomware messages to individuals. And basically, it'll be a message saying that, there is a response to your resume, or, that they are responding to setting up an interview for you. So to me, again, it's a very sad practice where they're taking advantage of the fact that a lot of people are in job search, and they're using that as a way to target a lot of individuals with their malware messaging. So be very careful. Please, investigate what phishing, phishing is, how to identify, messages that could be coming from unreliable sources. And, when you're in a job search, it's a very difficult time because you're dealing with a lot of individuals that you don't normally deal with. You're opening up yourself. You don't know where those responses may come from. But please don't let your guard down. Make sure you remain vigilant in your email communications, because during job search, it would be really detrimental to click on those messages, get that malware, potentially get into ransomware, have your computer taken down when it's such an important device to your search at a very critical time. So this time, more so than any time, please make sure you're doing that. And also make sure that you're taking regular backups of your machine, because God forbid it does become infected or you do get ransomware. At least if you have a recent full backup, that could be used to restore your machine and get you up and running quickly. So I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that.